All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to this explainer where we are looking at a truly radical approach to the financial markets. Today, we're unpacking Van K. Tharp's groundbreaking philosophy from his book, Trading Beyond the Matrix, The Red Pill for Traders and Investors. Now, if you've ever felt like you are doing absolutely all the right technical analysis, crossing your T's and dotting your I's, but you're still hitting this invisible ceiling with your results, well, this explainer is definitely for you. We're going to break down how the ultimate edge in trading isn't actually found on a chart, it's found inside your own head. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Are you sleepwalking through the market? Honestly, it's a serious question. Ask yourself if you're making these unconscious, reactive trading decisions that are just keeping you from the financial success you actually deserve. Because so many of us are trapped in this exhausting cycle of reacting emotionally to every single tick of the market, repeating the exact same mistakes over and over, and then just sitting there wondering why our carefully laid out plans keep falling apart. And the reason this happens is perfectly captured by Van Tharp. He says, "We live in a world of illusion, shaped by our programming." Tharp uses this brilliant metaphor from the classic 1999 film, The Matrix. Remember that iconic scene where Neo is offered a choice? He can take the blue pill and stay in a comfortable but fake illusion, or take the red pill and see the world exactly as it really is. Tharp argues that as investors, we're constantly viewing the market through a highly distorted lens, and most of the time, we don't even know it. So, what does this matrix actually mean for you, the trader? In this context, the matrix is a world of illusion created by our own internal programming. We're talking about our deeply held beliefs, our ingrained fears, and all those unconscious behavioral patterns. The reality is, the vast majority of people operate entirely inside this matrix. They think they're trading the market, but really, they're just trading their own psychological baggage. To truly succeed, you literally have to wake up and step outside of it. Now, taking this red pill requires going on a very specific journey, which is broken down into 3 levels of transformation. First up, we have to master the mechanics, which is the transformation of the trading game. Second, we have to dive inward for reprogramming yourself. And finally, we reach the ultimate state, trading beyond the matrix. We're going to walk through each of these steps today so you can see exactly how to map this onto your own trading journey. So let's start with level 1, the game, understanding the mechanics. Before we can master our minds, we absolutely must master the fundamental rules of engagement. The absolute foundation of this entire journey relies on what's called Tharp Sync. These are the core principles drawn directly from modeling the habits of great, highly profitable traders. First off, trading is a probability game. There are 0 certainties, none. And because of that, risk management is vastly more important than where you actually enter a trade. But the real game changer lies in those last 3 points. Your psychology completely dictates your results. Your beliefs literally create your reality, and most importantly, anyone, including you, can achieve this transformation through systematic work. Mechanically speaking, how do we actually survive this probability game? The answer is position sizing. It is without a doubt the single most important risk management tool in your arsenal. You see, it's not about picking the perfect stock. It's about determining exactly how much capital to risk on any given trade so you can actually survive the inevitable losing streaks. Tharp pairs this up with a couple of key concepts. There are R multiples, which simply means measuring your gains and losses as a multiple of your initial risk, and evaluating your system quality number, or SQN, which basically scores the overall expectancy of your strategy. If you don't have this mechanical bedrock firmly in place, honestly, nothing else matters. But once those mechanics are set, well, that's when the real work begins. Let's look at level 2, reprogramming yourself, facing your internal matrix. To truly understand your programming, we have to look at Tharp's belief hierarchy. At the very top, you have your core beliefs about yourself and the world around you. Things like, are you even deserving of success? Is the world a place of abundance or is it a place of scarcity? Then, down at the bottom are your specific day-to-day beliefs about trading. And here is why this is absolutely crucial. Your top-level core beliefs flow downward, and they completely dictate your specific trading actions. If you unconsciously believe you don't deserve wealth, you will literally self-sabotage your specific trades just to ensure you stay right where you are. It's wild, but it's true. Which brings us to one of the most profound insights in this entire explainer. Everything has the meaning you give it. Really let that sink in for a second. The market itself is entirely neutral. It is literally just lines and numbers flashing on a screen. It has absolutely no inherent meaning whatsoever. A loss is only bad if you consciously decide to label it as bad. A gain is only good if you decide it is. By recognizing that we are the ones projecting all this meaning onto totally neutral market data, we gain this incredible power to change our emotional responses. Okay, so how do we actually fix this bad programming? Well, one super practical tool from the source material is called the parts party. Because the truth is, we aren't just one single unified mind. We're more like a crowd of conflicting voices and parts. One part of you desperately wants to be a disciplined, rules-based trader, right? But another part might be absolutely terrified of losing money. And yet another part just craves the thrill of the gamble. The parts party is an exercise where you identify these conflicting voices and negotiate with them. It's about telling your inner gambler to take a back seat while your inner disciplined manager takes the wheel. Doing this helps you finally overcome that unconscious self-sabotage and release trapped emotions from your past. Once you've resolved those internal conflicts, you are ready for the final, most profound stage. Level 3, higher consciousness, trading beyond the matrix. There is just a stark contrast between two entirely different ways of existing in the market. Low consciousness trading, which, let's face it, is where most people live, is driven by a constant fear of losing, greed for more, anger at the market when a trade goes south, and just a totally reactive mindset. Compare that to high consciousness trading. Here, the trader operates from a baseline of absolute acceptance, peace, enlightenment, and profound presence. When you trade from this state, fear and greed simply do not have any control over your actions anymore. And that leads to the ultimate goal, a state Tharp calls trading in the now. The objective here is to observe what the market is doing right now with no interference of any kind. Just imagine that, pure presence. You're watching the market without the filter of your ego, without the anxiety of fear, without the blinders of greedy expectations. You're so fully present that you simply respond to the market with clarity and wisdom, rather than just reacting out of emotional survival. So let's bring all of this home by looking at the transformed trader. Which archetype are you currently embodying? This maps out the typical evolutionary path of an investor. We all pretty much start as the sleeping trader. This is the blue pill state. You're unconscious of your programming, you're constantly reactive, and you are deeply frustrated because you just keep repeating the same mistakes. But then comes the choice, transforming you into the awakening trader. This is someone who takes the red pill. They become aware of their patterns, they get highly curious about why they do what they do, and they're fully committed to doing the internal work. Finally, we reach the ultimate destination, the transformed trader. They've mastered the red pill. They're entirely present, peaceful, and wise in their interactions with the market. So the absolutely crucial point we want you to take away from this explainer is this core thesis. The greatest obstacles to your trading success is not the market. It's not the algorithm. It's certainly not the news. The greatest obstacle is your own internal programming. Consistent, long-term profitability requires a profound inward psychological transformation just as much, if not way more, than outward market analysis. You have to be willing to look inside. Which leaves us with one final, undeniable question to ponder. Will you take the red pill? Will you choose to stop sleepwalking, break free from your unconscious programming, and fully commit to the challenging but incredibly rewarding journey of self-transformation? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this sparks the beginning of your own awakening in the markets. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.